Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Susan Lynn, I'm a psychic and a medium, and this is part 2 of our questions that you wanted to ask of my spirit guides. Now these questions are political questions, and it is, today is June 5th, and this is part 2, so I've already done a whole nother part 1 of this. And basically I'm going to be reading your questions and asking the spirit guides and giving you their answers in real time. So we're going to continue now with Luz, I think her name is Luz Echeverry. Thank you for your question. The question is, at the top of the Queen's Jubilee celebration, this is Britain, the Queen of England, this is her Jubilee celebration she's talking about. How do you see the monarchy under Charles? Will he be a good king? Will the firm, that's what they call, the firm is what they call the royal family. Will the royal family stay together much longer? Will they have to make changes? And lastly, what will happen with Harry? Will he return to the UK to support his brother? Okay, that's a lot of questions there, Liz. Most of the questions are about the United States and about politics, but every once in a while we have one that's a little different. I see the monarchy falling apart under Charles in not being as prominent, not being as powerful. And it's not because he doesn't want it. He wants to be powerful. He wants to lead. He wants to reign. He spent his whole life from when he was a baby preparing for this. I often get the idea from spirit that there's a possibility that they're gonna skip him, and people fight me. No, they would never skip Prince Charles. Look, all I can do is tell you what spirit is showing me. He may reign as king for a while, but it would be in the royal family's best interest if they just put William in. William is the right age. He understands the current situation, the people. He understands a little bit more about the people, just because of all the technological changes that have happened within William's lifetime that hadn't happened, until Charles was much older. So that's what I see. I see the monarchy sort of breaking apart a little bit, or not breaking apart, but I guess I would say that it's going to become less directly powerful. A little bit sidelined. I don't know how else to say that. So they're going to make changes. Yes, they're going to make changes. And lastly, what will happen to Harry? It's interesting. Harry is there now. I didn't think he would be there, but he is. It's interesting. As I look at the energy, if Prince Charles is not king and William is king, then I see Harry coming in. If Prince Charles is king, I don't see Harry coming in. I don't know why. Perhaps without Charles being in power. Again, William is younger. He understands the younger mindset. He's not steeped in that same rigid, monarchy idea that Charles was steeped in. A lot has changed in William's lifetime. So that's what I see. Okay. Hopefully that makes sense. Thank you for your question. Anne says, and thank you for your question, Anne. She says, what is going on with the Texas police? They are acting like they're above the law. They even asked a biker gang to help them block and intimidate the media. Well, who else asked for a biker gang to help them? Trump. I mean, who else thinks they're above the law? Trump. This is the same energy. This is the Republican energy. This is like what's his name, and I don't have his name in front of me, who just said it's okay to lie, and now we're in trouble for lying. The Republicans can no longer lie. It's like the same energy of we're above everything. We're elitist. We're the power. We're the elites. You have nothing. Sit down and shut up. So this Texas, what she's talking about too is with the Uvalde shooting. The Texas police have lied and lied and lied and lied. They've been caught in at least 5 lies. Now the DOJ is investigating them, and the Texas Rangers, who's like our top police force here, they're all investigating them. They're going to find even more lies. They're going to find more things that have been covered up. They're going to find more CYA time, allegedly. Corruption. I'm seeing money. I'm seeing corruption. These people have been threatened. The locals have been threatened with various things if they talk to the press. Not by the bikers, by the cops. So this is very much a problem. What I would hope is that the DOJ, who have said so far, the Department of Justice have said, we're not investigating this from a criminal standpoint. We're investigating this from a best practices standpoint. Where did they go wrong? How can we improve? But really, this is a criminal standpoint. So I really hope that they involve other agencies like the FBI, because this is really criminal. You're going to be seeing a lot explosive from that town. Listen, these small towns, right? I mean, the police run towns like sometimes, allegedly, whatever you want to say, for entertainment purposes only. They run these towns as their own little fiefdoms, their own little kingdoms. And that's what happened, and now they're getting caught. Thank you for your question. Vigil says, will DeSantis be the GOP nominee for the 2024 presidential election? Thank you for your question. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. Will DeSantis be the GOP nominee? Now, this is 2 years out, you realize. But I'm going to tell you right now, I heard something very surprising. I heard no. There is hope for the world. I asked the question, I heard no. So that's very interesting. Again, this is 2 years out. DeSantis is dancing around a lot of crimes himself. And I'm hearing that he can be, or he will be implicated in crimes. He will be implicated in crimes next year. That is 2023. So, that gave me hope. So thank you for asking that question. Because I just, in part 1, I talked about how dark Florida was energetically. And that gives me hope. For them, and at least politically, and hope for the rest of us too, right? So thank you for your question. Summer asked, how will we in this community really feel after the J6 broadcast? We've been warned and informed by you and others on what's coming. Will we be as shocked as the uninformed? We're not going to be as shocked as the uninformed. You're right. We're not going to be as shocked as the uninformed, but there are shocking things that are going to happen. I do believe that there are some surprises that I maybe don't know about, that other readers don't know about, that could come to be known. The only information I can get is the questions I ask. That's why I love doing this. You guys ask questions I don't think about. For instance, I never thought to ask if DeSantis was going to be the 2024 presidential nominee. I never thought to ask that question. And by asking that question, I now know that he's going to be implicated in crimes, and next year's going to be a tough year for him. So, wow. So, yeah, I think that a lot of things we're going to hear is going to be like, it's about time. We may not be as surprised, but there will be some surprises. Thank you for your question, Summer. Zach Riley says, is Heidi Cruz in agreement or embarrassed by her husband, Ted Cruz? Gross behavior and gun issues. Wow. I really could have gone all day without having gone into her energy. Wow. Wow. She is very, what is the word? She feels special. She feels elite. She's an elitist. She feels elite. She feels, like, she's not embarrassed by Ted Cruz's gun things, being pro-gun. I'm still locked in her energy. But she doesn't respect him. I mean, he kind of gets on her nerves, to be honest with you. He grandstands in front of his own family. Like he's somebody special. Heidi is more of she wants to be special. She would be happier if Ted Cruz was a lobbyist and they made a lot of money and they could travel everywhere and be special. She doesn't like that he's a politician and he gets attacked in restaurants. I mean, recently he got attacked in a restaurant and he was very smug. I mean, not attacked. A gentleman stood up to him and really gave him his own thoughts about gun control in Uvalde. And Ted Cruz just stood there kind of with this smarmy smirk on his face. But you're looking at his family who's all sitting there and they're not liking this. They're not. I get the same posturing that he did to this guy. I get the same posturing he does it to his family. So, Heidi would much rather be a lobbyist. She's all about the special treatment, okay? So if you were looking for some kind of normalcy or whatever, I don't think it's there. Ethical, whatever it was, that it's not there. It's not there. Okay. Also, his second part of his question was, will Kevin McCarthy be indicted and be imprisoned? Will Kevin McCarthy... He'll be indicted. He'll be indicted. I don't know if he's going to be imprisoned. That's not available at the moment. It is frustrating. We do want him to be imprisoned. It does look like he will be indicted. I'm not sure why. Will he go to jail? He might not go to jail. Listen, this are the views of my spirit guides. We have a lot of free will involved in this. Anything can change. It has changed in the past. But right now, the guides are telling me he will be indicted. It doesn't look like he's going to jail. Your next question is, will Bannon go back to jail again? I hear a yes and a no, which I'm going to say that means that he gets out. He goes to jail for such a short period of time. There's a lot of things that are going to happen that you and I and everybody else watching this video are going to think are injustices, right? But we just have to take what we can get, and we have to really focus our efforts on voting. We need to change some amendments. We need to change the Second Amendment perhaps to quantify what that really means in today's world. We need to change the amendment on treason. We need to change some of these laws as well, because they can only do what they can do. Truly, the laws are written so that these people do not get very long sentences. We change the laws to make people that get indicted and charged and convicted with drug crimes, we change those laws to lock those people up forever. But we have all these other laws that are just not very stout. Okay, so that's kind of what's happening there. Thank you for your question. Sue Perkins says, I saw a news blurb about Zelensky and Belarus President Lukashenko in talks about Belarus helping Ukraine get their wheat to the market. Whoa, never saw that coming. Well, I mean, Ukraine has got to get their wheat to the market. I mean, Ukraine has to do this. First of all, they're the breadbasket of Europe. They supply so much food to countries that are already experiencing famine. And without this grain, they're really going to have extreme famine. So we need to get that wheat out. Plus, the farmers supported the war effort. They gave their diesel to the war effort, for their tractors. They gave what they could to the war effort, and now they need to sell this to pay themselves back. I mean, they need to, make themselves whole again, so to speak. So Zelensky is a smart guy. If he needs to make a deal with Belarus, he's going to make a deal with Belarus. I think the guides are showing me that this is actually a very strategic, is the word they're using, move on Zelensky's behalf, because Belarus is in cahoots with Putin, right? But by Zelensky cutting a deal with Belarus is going to get a lot of money. So now who is Belarus going to be more beholden to? I mean, this is a brilliant idea, honestly, as the guides are showing it to me. Plus, if Belarus is making money off of Ukraine, they're not going to attack them. You don't know what Zelensky's including in this, back and forth in this. I'm connected to the guides and I can't think of words, but in their dealing, Zelensky could say, well, we can make this go through, but you can't host Russians on your soil, or you can't allow military, there's so many things that could be happening here. Zelensky is brilliant. That's brilliant. I didn't even know that was happening, so thank you for pointing it out. And I didn't see it coming either. Again, you guys ask questions, which allows me to ask questions, which allows me to learn things that I didn't know. All right. Linda Walker says, I kind of mentioned this in the last video, but part 1. But would you please take another look at how long Russia will keep up their cruel and senseless war on Ukraine? So again, the guides, I did 3 videos or 4 videos on Ukraine. On the very first video, the guides, and every subsequent video, the guides talked about all of Ukraine being free of Russian aggressors, except for this area down the Donbass region. Now, some of that, like Crimea and some of that area, Russia had already laid claim to, and I think in 2014, and they basically were controlling it. They were using quote unquote Russian separatists, so it wasn't Russia, whatever. That's semantics. But so the guides said, it's all coming down to this. It's all coming down to this area, and it looks just like this. It's like just a scoop along the bottom. Now that area contains the seaports, Mariupol and also Odessa. Mostly Mariupol up. Odessa is a whole nother thing. I think somebody asked a question about it, but we should talk about Odessa because that's a really big deal. But anyway, I'll stick to your question. What I said in the past video was, I can see Ukraine pushing the Russians all the way out, but then there's a red marker line that goes right along the country, right along the borders of Russia and Ukraine. And the guides said in the videos that I did about Ukraine back in February and March that that area would be the last part that is contested. And they also said that that part may go to Russia. Now, I'm not for this. Zelensky, no one is for this. They also said that some countries in the West, quote unquote, would pressure Zelensky to allow Russia to have it in the name of peace. Now, this has already happened. France and Germany both came out and pressured Zelensky. Other countries are coming out and pressuring Zelensky. Look, just let him have that part, and then you'll have the rest of your country, and you can have peace and you can rebuild. Why go to war over this little part? Well, first of all, Zelensky's not giving up anything. It's Ukrainian soil. It's Ukrainian land. Why should he give it up? And he's not going to give it up. Number one. Number two, they're seaports. Now, the previous question was that Zelensky's making a deal with Lukashenko because that is a land trade route for that grain to get out. The better option is the port. Once Ukraine loses those ports, Russia gains the ports. And that is what Russia wants. They want those ports. They want that access. So I don't see it ending anytime soon. I wish I could tell you that it was going to end in a month or 6 months. They're going to push them out. There's one more fighting happening that's also on the eastern side of Ukraine. More Severodonetsk. I can't say it. They're going to push the Russians out of there. That's a lot of heavy fighting right now. They're going to push the Russians out of there. But man, this area down by Mariupol, I don't know. The guides suggested that if Russia took control of that, Russia would keep control of it for 3 years at least, but no longer than 5 years. And it would eventually go back to Ukraine. So it is going to go back to Ukraine. Ukraine is going to have that land. But there's a potential, really, for this land to be co-opted by Russia for quite a while. Her second question is, ask my guides when Ghislaine Maxwell will spill the truth. Or the beans. Spill the beans. Interesting that I read that as truth. She's keeping this. Her life is still at risk. And she's not going to spill the beans. I mean, this is her ransom. This is her get out of jail. And not even jail. This is her stay alive card. She'll go to jail. Jail would be great. She's fine. She's okay with jail. More jail. I mean, she's already been in jail, but more jail. She's okay with that. Because, haha, this is new. Because if she gets out of jail, and let's say it's 10 years. Let's say there's a 4 there. It might be 4 or it might be 14. Let's say when she gets out of jail and she's never spilled her beans, she's going to collect some money. Honey, all she's got to do is get out of jail and she will collect the money. Millions of dollars. So no, she's not going to spill the beans. She ain't no dummy. And this is her world. This is how she operates. Everything is bought and paid for. Now, conversely, if something happens to her, then it's like a poison pill or whatever. I mean, if something happens to her, it gets aired. It gets wide distribution. Wide distribution. So that is her keep me alive. She's not going to let go of that. And then when she's out, it's ransom for money. Okay. Oh, that was from Carol C. I'm sorry. Thank you, Carol C. That Maxwell question was from Carol C. The question got messed up. Okay. Thank you for your question. Cindy Clifford says, will Michigan become more evenly balanced? She said she heard there was another threat against Governor Whitmer. I just said in the last video, because I read these as I go, that there was going to be a threat against Governor Whitmer. I literally just said that in the first video. Yeah, there's going to be threats against her. When will Michigan become more evenly balanced? We're looking at 2024, 2026. Between 2024 and 2026. Thank you for your question, Cindy. I don't see anything. I can't guarantee it, but I don't see the threats against her being successful, but I can't guarantee it. It could be close. It could be close. Somebody's thinking about something right now. It could be that somebody gets her but she gets out before. God, it's a crazy, crazy, crazy time we live in. Okay, let's just all say a prayer for her. Okay, Joseph asks, for us in the LGBTQ community, will they start taking away our rights? Well, they're trying, obviously. They're showing me states. They're showing me particular states. I don't know why that makes sense. They're showing me like Wyoming, Western states, Republican states for sure. What rights can states take from them? Protections. They might be taking away protections like state laws, hate crimes. They might be taking those away. Now, when you say take away our rights, I think what would have to happen is they'd have to go before the Supreme Court. That's very interesting. Right now, Joseph, just right now, I don't see that being successful. I don't see them taking away our rights right now. Now, if we don't work really hard to get some changes here, like I see the House and the Senate getting Dems, but we need more than one or two Dems to counteract the cinema/mansion, circus. So we need as many as we can get to be able to really do this work. So we all need to vote, of course, educate people, write those checks, make those phone calls, send those prayers, whatever you can do, please do it. Thank you for your question. Vorko's girl. I don't know. I'm so sorry. Okay, this question is political and spiritual. So she wants to know, or he wants to know, why is our spiritual community divided? That they know people that are Trumpers who believe some very outlandish things, and yet also believe in spiritual evolution and love and a new era dawning. Can I help her or him understand why there seems to be so much divisiveness even in our spiritual communities? You know what? I struggle with this too. I will never forget right around Trump being elected, one of my favorite psychic teachers, who's a local person and a person I had gotten many readings from, and I really trusted, I really trusted her, and she was a great teacher. I will never forget when she said something overtly racist to me. I'll never forget that. And I thought, what? I remember being so shocked that I had to sit down. Like, this person was not the person I thought that she was. And of course, she's a Trumper. She's a QAnon person. And I got to tell you that if you're asking, I'm going to ask them again. Why? Right. Okay. Why is our spiritual community so divided between those that follow the Trump and the right and those that follow the left? Oh, they're going to go all philosophical on us. Okay. So, oh boy. Okay. Well, okay. I'm going to tell you two reasons. First of all, I'm going to say that it's because they're different. So in my understanding too, it's racism. It's elitism. They're different. They have a little bit of a racist component or racist nugget of rock in their heart. And they believe this stuff. I mean, I think most of Trump's stuff is racist. I mean, come on. So now, the guides went into this philosophical thing about how we need dark and light. We can't all be light. We didn't come here to Earth for this. There are other existences. There are other planets where everything is hunky-dory. We chose, my soul, your soul, chose to incarnate in a dualistic planet. Dualistic meaning light and dark. Because the best and fastest way to grow your soul, to evolve, is to be experienced to both light and dark. In every possible permutation. I mean, think about it. This isn't just about Trumpers or Democrats. This is about, should I eat that donut or should I eat a carrot? I mean, you know what I mean? And all of everything in our world is about choices. One's better, one's not so good for you. And then, you know, when you get in the bigger, wider spectrums, it's light and dark, meaning dark energy and light energy. So they're saying that we needed this. This is, you know how Trump said he was going to clean the swamp out. Well, guess what? He's cleaning the swamp out. Is he not? How much have we learned? How much do we know now that we didn't know before and we wouldn't have known? We wouldn't have known that these things are possible, that our laws aren't strong enough, that perhaps we need some changes to the amendments, or we need to add amendments. Maybe we need to add more to our Supreme Court. There's a whole lot of loopholes that we didn't know existed until now. So this, if you want to look at it like that, these spiritual practitioners that are maybe on the darker side are here to show us, you know, that we don't want to be like them, that is a possibility, that spiritual doesn't mean holy. It doesn't mean you're right and you're always right. It could mean that there's dark and light even in the spiritual worlds. And you talk to them and they say, oh yes, there's a new era. And honestly, this woman that I was talking about, my psychic teacher, she did a channeling. And I'm telling you, this was about 6 years ago. Let's see, 2, 4, 6, at least 6, maybe 7 years ago. And in her channeling, and she was literally channeling, and in her channeling, she talked about how there was going to be a separation within the United States. And some people were going to go live here, and some people were going to go live there because they couldn't get along. And they were not alike. They were not alike. Now, who was she channeling? I've often thought about that because when she said it, it hit me. Now, when stuff hits you, when stuff resonates with you or stands out or strikes you, pay attention. There's a reason that stood out to you. And there's a reason that you remember it years and years and years and years later. It's almost like the spirit has put a Post-it note on your forehead. Like, you're going to remember this, Susan. Don't forget. I'll never forget it. So, we are being challenged within the spiritual community to grow. We're being challenged within the spiritual community to call out those who are dark. We're being challenged in the spiritual community to have a code of ethics, to ascribe by a code of ethics. You know, maybe their new era dawning is all white. You know? All Republican. I mean, that's their choice. And I hope they fly off to some other planet and enjoy that existence. But that's not the United States. That's not the planet's ascension plan. I can truly tell you, our Earth, our ascension plan is not that. Our ascension plan is to meld together, that the races meld together, that we become more and more and more of a mixed race, not separated. So hopefully that makes sense. Thank you for your question. Dusty Rose says, oh, she's following up. She's following up on that. Hi, Dusty. She says, I have wondered too, following Trump pushing false Republicans' agenda, receiving messages that feels and sounds like racism and cannot feel for others in need. Yes, that is just following up that question. Thank you guys for your question. Carol C. says, will there be a lawsuit initiated by the family members of the massacred children against those who aided and abetted the massacre of the Uvalde children, against, i.e., Abbott and the state government, Arredondo, gun manufacturer, gun seller, who accepted the credit card for payment, who legally still owns the gun since it's not paid for? Sandy Hook family won a suit against the gun manufacturer. Yes, and the victims of the Buffalo shooting have hired the same attorney that won against Sandy Hook. You brought up some really good questions about the legality. The gun shop, or the whatever it was that sold this gun to this kid, sold it on credit. So you're right. A court is going to separate all that out, and you better be right. These families are going to lawyer up. They may be looking to join with the Buffalo and with some other groups as a class action suit. That feels strong. That feels big. A class action suit feels big. Culpability. They're talking about culpability. They're going to do that. And I do think they're going to be successful, Carol. Thank you for your question. And again, this is just another way, another tool we have to put pressure on these gun manufacturers, on these politicians, on the whole gun culture. Yeah. Okay. Another question from Kimberly Figliolino. I might have said that right. I might not have. Okay. How many corrupt Republicans will be going to jail over their involvement with the January 6th insurrection? Corrupt Republicans. So that means House or Senate. That means judges. When you say Republicans, it could actually also mean police officers that are corrupt. It could mean civilians who are corrupt. I mean, it's kind of, this is what Spirit does, right? We know what we're asking, but Spirit takes everything very literal. So I'm going to change your question to how many corrupt Republican politicians who currently hold office, because Louis Gohmert in Texas, it doesn't hold office anymore. So, because he ran for another office and lost. I heard 6. How many Republican politicians that currently hold office will go to jail for their involvement? 6 to 9. 6 to 9, but there's a lot of emphasis around 9. That's a lot. 6 to 9. Go to jail. 6 Republicans are going to jail. Are you for real? Don't play with us. We can't be played with. We are not well. How many corrupt Republican politicians are currently in office go to jail over their involvement? At least 3, but it looks more like 6. And it could be 9. Okay. Thank you for your question. That was fascinating. Patty B says, will the corrupt government of Texas ever be brought down and jailed? Well, we talked about that earlier, about the Uvalde situation. And I'm going to tell you that the DOJ is going to investigate this. There's real crimes here. There's crimes being committed as we speak. And these people meaning the parents of these victims and the citizens that live in this very small town in Texas, are being coerced, and there are crimes being committed, and that's going to shake up Texas tremendously. And it needs to be. And right now, they show me a picture. So this town is, I don't know, an hour from San Antonio, which is a pretty big town. I don't remember. But they showed me other towns in Texas. And they showed me people in power trying to create like a ring around Uvalde so that the investigation stays there. So the investigation doesn't go to Abbott, which is the governor. So the investigation doesn't go to the governor's office. There was a guy who said that the governor's office came and told him and tried to pay him and said, stand by us and we'll pay you. And this guy said it on Twitter and he said, no, get out of my face. I just lost my nephew. And he has since retracted his statement. But I feel like it's true. I feel like he retracted his statement because now he's getting, because he was threatened. They did threaten him. According to his first statement, the statement was, they told me, we'll pay you. You come stand by Governor Abbott. And this guy said, you're crazy. Get out of my house. And the guy said, well, this is, it's very easy for things to happen to people. It was a threat. And now he's saying, I retract my statement. Now, what does that sound like to you? So it's going to be big. It's going to be big. I don't know how big, but I definitely think people are going to be in jail. I want to ask a question. Is it going to affect Governor Abbott? It's going to besmirch Governor Abbott. He's not going to go to jail, but it's going to... again, they're showing me this ring. So now the energy has escaped this town of Uvalde, and now it's going to the capital of Texas, which is Austin. And now Abbott is putting a ring like between him personally and those people. So people kind of close to Abbott, maybe, 6 degrees away from Abbott, could be implicated. But Abbott is going to put a barrier between him and them. So that's interesting. All right, I'm going to move on. Thank you so much. Sweetie, darling Lulu says, can President Biden catch a break? She feels like he's emotional and mentally exhausted and needs a vacation. He's not going to catch a break until after Christmas, or Christmas specifically. He's going to catch a break. There's going to be better news about Ukraine. There's going to be better news about the midterms. There's going to be a little bit better news about inflation a little bit. The numbers, the economic sales numbers for the holidays are going to be very strong. So he's going to get a really nice, much needed vacation in December, but not before. I'm sorry to say. It's all hands on deck and a marathon between now and December. Katrina McGregor says, please tell me if Gary Chambers has a chance for the Louisiana Senate seat. She's been donating to him even though she lives out of state ever since he set a Confederate flag on fire in one of his ads. Yes. He does have a chance. He looks good to me, Katrina. He looks good to me. I'm hearing the words against all odds, but he looks good. He does have a chance. I don't know if he's going to win. He might win. It looks good. Thank you for your question. Darren says, how long do I see Boris Johnson, the UK Prime Minister, lasting, and who will replace him? Oh, boy. I saw Boris Johnson going out before now. He's caught a lot of really good breaks. The Ukraine war was a good break for him because he got to meet Zelensky and it took a lot of pressure off of him. But he's a buffoon. Every time I go into his energy or into Britain's energy, I hear people calling him a buffoon. He'll last. Oh, there's another scandal coming. It's not going to take him out. I gather he has a lot of scandals. But anyway, it's not going to take him out. I think that he'll have to serve out his term. surprisingly, the UK might be putting in a female prime minister. Now, that's not so surprising, but I see that she might be dark-haired, and she might be her parents might not be from Britain. I mean, she was much like Barack Obama, right? Okay, so one parent might be from, I don't know, not Britain, not the UK, not Great Britain. I mean, out of, now it's from a country that has been a protectorate, but not really UK. So that's interesting. That's what I'm getting right now. The energy is way far out, so it could change. Thank you for your question. It is surprising though. Equus 3333, thank you for your question. I already answered who's in charge of Russia in the first video, and it was fascinating. And it had to do with all of these, with Putin being in this room and all of these video screens, and also on the ceiling and also on the floor, and his people keeping him in this room with all the video screens. And the video screens basically show life in Russia, life in all the different countries of the world. The ceiling is the sky. So what do the skies look like over Russia? Who's flying anywhere around Russia or around the world as far as their militaries go? And then what was surprising to me was the video screen on the floor was an aerial view looking down to the ocean. Where are the navies? Where is his navy? Where is his shipping? Where's his shipping boats going? So he's locked into this room, and he has very limited information. And look, he doesn't have limited information because he's got 500 video screens. But who's feeding the information? That's the problem. It's limited. And the source on the outside that was his good source that he could at least maybe pull up some newspaper and compare some of the screens to what's really happening. And it has to be a printed newspaper because, obviously it's a little harder to fake. Not impossible, but a little harder to fake a newspaper. So anyway, that person has now been co-opted, and he's getting a fake newspaper. So, and the guides told me in the last video that it was an oligarch, and that the oligarch was interested in the shipping ports of Ukraine, and that's who's controlling Russia. If you want to see the whole thing, go back to the first video. I also answered the ban on assault weapons in the first video, which is your other question. And number 4 was, will Turkey be able to stop Sweden and Finland from joining the NATO and EU? No. They won't. This is, Turkey is doing some haggling. They're doing some dealing. They're getting what they want. So they're horse trading, down here in the South. We call it horse trading, right? So but they're going to eventually let Sweden and Finland will eventually be allowed in, yes. But right now, Turkey is trying to line their own pockets or their own coffers. Something about their coffers. Okay. Our last question was, when will Trump be indicted? Soon. The guides are saying soon. This summer. If not this summer, then fall for sure. And now we have a question from Lynn G, who says, interesting question. What is the life going to be like for the average Russian citizens over the next few years? Are they falling back into life as it was, as the old Soviet Union? It's sad to see the videos produced by regular YouTubers who are discouraged and moving into hopelessness. Well, yeah. So just in a nutshell, I did talk about this in the past video a little bit, in the sense that I see this potentially, okay, so everything is energy, everybody has free will, and everybody's free will affects the outcome. So this is not definitely going to happen. It really depends on a lot of moving parts. But the energy suggests that a hardliner comes in behind Putin because Russia's citizens are going to start protesting and being dissenters from every walk of life. So a lot of their soldiers come from the outskirts, from these towns that don't have running indoor plumbing. Many of the soldiers talked about all of the indoor plumbing. Like, we can't believe all this indoor plumbing, right? So, but those families have lost their sons. So they're going to be upset. The people that live in the bigger cities are upset. Everybody's going to be upset. So this hardliner's going to come in. He's going to rap some knuckles. He's going to throw people in prison and jail. But that guy moves out of power within a year or two, and a better, more peaceful time happens. I see even Navalny getting out of prison and leading some of the new future governments. So yeah, it's going to go into the Soviet Union. It's going to go right back into a really tough economic period. It's not going to be fun for anybody. It's going to be terrible. But those people have gotten a taste, not everybody, but a lot of the people in the bigger cities have gotten a taste of Western consumerism, and they want that. And they got a taste of Western jobs. They're working remotely. They want that. So this isn't the end. And no amount of hardliner, heavy-handed punishment is going to change that. I don't think. Okay, thank you for your question. Arlene Forney says, I think we have the answer to this, Arlene, which she wants to know, where did the 18-year-old who shot up the kids in school in Uvalde get the money to buy 2 AR-15s? They cost $1,200 each. He got them on credit. They offer credit to buy these guns. Now, also, I would say to you that this kid had a job and he lived at home. So he might have been able to put down $500 or something. I mean, he might have been able to put down, half or something, right? Or a quarter. But I also sense that he was either stealing money or getting money from his grandmother, who he also shot, who's still alive. I feel like he was abusing his grandmother in some way, financially. He took her truck. That's the truck he used, the expensive truck that everybody's like, how did he get this expensive truck? It's his grandmother's truck. So he was getting money from different sources. Okay. Mary Myers says, okay, I think I already asked this question. Hate to keep asking the same question, but will DeSantis prevail as governor of Florida in November? No, I didn't answer this question. Sorry. I see the question for me is Charlie Crist or Nikki Fried gonna win? In the first video, I got that DeSantis was going to be facing, or maybe it was this video. I don't even know because I'm channeling and I don't remember what I said. But I think I got that DeSantis was going to be facing some indictments next year. Is he going to win in November? Is DeSantis going to win his governorship in November? I heard no, and I heard Charlie Crist was going to win. Now, I'm not sure if I like Charlie Crist or Nikki Fried better. I sometimes lean towards Nikki Fried. I mean, just energetically. But I think Charlie Crist might. Who's going to beat him? Right now, okay, again, energy is subject to change. It could come out, that Charlie Crist could say something really stupid. Okay, I mean, I can't control him. So he might say something that ruins his chances. But right now, it seems like the energy suggests that Charlie Crist is going to be the one that wins. But I have to tell you that there's a lot of energy around Nikki Fried too. Is it Fried or Fried? But anyway, Hopefully that makes sense. Thank you for your question. Alo Cat says, what's in the future for Eric Swalwell and Katie Porter, both dynamic and game changers? I agree. I like their odds. They look fine. They look good. They look like there might be some kind of character assassination attack on Swalwell. As I'm looking, I'm just staring at their names, reading their energy. Swalwell seems like there might be something that they try to do, but it's not going to work. Their energy seems really, really good to me. Okay, my next question is, Dusty Rose says, why was the real reason they let Meadows off? Will Mark Meadows be held accountable on later charges? Yes, I did talk about this in the first video. Mark Meadows is going to be held accountable on different charges from a different entity. Okay, from a different judicial entity. And it's better for them to decline to charge him, because if they charged him, they would tip their hat that the other entity, judicial entity, they'll tip their hat towards what that judicial entity has on him. So it's better to just say, we decline to indict, and just let it be quiet. Okay? They're trying to keep everything quiet. So that's why they did that. Cat Funk and Zach Riley all asked the same question. Cat Funk asks, is Mark Meadows secretly cooperating with the DOJ? Mark Meadows is secretly cooperating, but again, he's cooperating with the DOJ, but there's another entity that's going to take his knees out, and he doesn't even know it. So I just feel like they sweep his feet out from under him. And because whatever he's doing with the DOJ doesn't, it's separate from the crime that he's done with this other entity, state entity. It's brilliant, really. So the state entity can take him down even though he's cooperating with the DOJ. Because I was going to say, these people aren't smart enough to think that they're going to be charged by a state entity. They think the DOJ is the biggest entity, so I'll cooperate with them and then I'll be free. Well, ask Trump how that's going to go down, because I think Georgia is going to take Trump down. I think Georgia is going to be one of the things that takes Trump down. Okay, and then Zach Riley said, same question, but is Scavino also cooperating with the feds? So Scavino is very interesting to me, because I did a whole video where my guides were telling me Scavino, 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 like they just were chanting Scavino. And I did a whole video on it, like this was last year. And I was like, what is the deal with Scavino? Well, Scavino was the social media guy. He was the guy who did all the tweets and messages, and he did a lot of texting too. Scavino is not... Hold on. Scavino's cooperating with the FBI. He's cooperating with the FBI. And I think that video that I did last year said that Scavino could bring Trump down. Scavino seems to have a piece of information that links to things that the feds have not been able to link. You know? You might have the gun and the motive without the body, right? Well, Scavino's got the thing that links it. So that's interesting. Thank you for that question. Sageburner says, will student loan forgiveness be a done deal? I've been paying for more than 10 years for my degree. Sageburner, I've talked about this in the past, and I have to tell you, don't shoot the messenger. Also, that the spirit guides have a different idea about things than I do. Their views are different than mine. So we've talked about this a lot. I don't see Biden forgiving student loans. I've said that for months. I've seen him offering to forgive a small amount, like 25,000 or way less than 50, but probably 25 or less. Now, the thing that Biden's going to do, which will help you, is he's going to go back and make these loan shark student loan companies, he's going to make them reduce their interest rates. Because why you can't pay this off is the interest rate is too big. Before, when the government was involved, the interest rate was very low and you could afford to pay your loans off. It wasn't a big deal. But now these student loans and the interest rates actually keep you guys from buying houses. It actually creates a debt load that's too big, that you can't even do anything in your life. So I see Biden going in and reducing those student loan interest rates, which is really going to affect you. It's really going to affect you. Some of the things that he's done so far is he's done those periods of time where you don't have to pay it back, where there's no interest rate being collected. So if you did pay it back during that time, you'd be making better headway because the interest rate's not applying. Now, some people didn't pay it back during that time because they thought, well, if it's going to get forgiven, then I don't want to pay it back. I just don't see him forgiving them. I mean, maybe he'll change his mind next year. Maybe Congress will change their mind. But overall, it's very divisive among the American people. It's almost like gun control. It's very divisive. But I think he can help you. I think he can help you by reducing the interest rates. Yes. Okay. All right. So also, Clark in K1 says, what are Dr. Oz's goals if he wins the governor's seat in Pennsylvania? If he wins, will he achieve his goals? I don't see him winning. He's really got very bizarre ideas about things. He wants to take things back to draconian. I heard the word draconian, draconian laws. Again, he's not pro women. He's very elitist. These people that aren't white, why they think that these white men are really going to let them in the club just cracks me up. So he thinks he's in the club. He wants to be in the club, and that's what he thinks. He thinks he's in the special club. And it's all about, I'm better than you, elitism or racism. He's not going to win, though. I don't see him winning. No Dice says, is an unconscious guilt because of slavery system and subsequent lynchings, annihilation of well-functioning black neighborhoods causing the present time racism to persist? No Dice, I am so sorry, but no. I would like to say that people feel guilty for all of those things. I would like to say that. Unconscious or not, but no. In my opinion, when I look at the energy, it's about power. It's about power. They want power. So they're going to create, it's like a caste system. It's very much like a caste system, like royalty. You're royal. They've talked about this in a previous video. You've got the royal family, the prince, and then you've got all the underlings and the duchess, and then you've got moneyed landowners. It's about that. That's how this stuff is. I'm going to have to stop talking because I've been doing this. This is part 2. I've been doing this for hours. So I'm sorry, but that's why they want it. And our ascension, Earth ascension, is supposed to overcome that. And they sense it. They sense that they're being pushed to the side. They sense that they're being made small, minimized. And that's why they're fighting back. They can sense that they're being minimized. And then I'm in this with Pearl Girl's question of, and that was my dog. Can you ask your guides why the CIA is giving millions to the Brookland hologram studio. Will there be a holographic second coming? Well, I mean, and she says, I know this question is probably on the fringes, but I've thought about this possibility for some time now. No, it's not on the fringes. There's a thing in the military called DARPA, DHARPA, and it's basically a Department of the Defense that funds anything crazy, because we need to know what the next crazy thing is. Right now, drones are out there outperforming tanks and everything else, right? We got caught on the left foot. The United States did. We need to hire hackers because the United States doesn't have in our military enough of those types of people. So the military actually has booths in these hacker conventions. Literally, this is very true, where the Air Force had a booth and said, if you can hack our code, our software, we want to hire you. And literally gave these hackers an opportunity to hack it because they need to know that they can be protected. This is of utmost concern. So yes, I can see the military funding work with holograms because all of this is all the waves of the future. Robotics, robotic soldiers, robotic animals, all of this is the wave of the future. So yes, CIA is, we have to be number one. If we're not number one, we're not going to win. If some kind of threat comes to us using a hologram, we certainly need to understand what it is and how to combat that. So you're right for asking the question, and we're doing it for those reasons. So hopefully that helps. Thank you guys so much for watching this second part 2 of You Guys Ask the Spirit Guides. I really appreciate it. I hope you're all doing well, and I'm sending love and light to you. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet, and like this video. That'd be super awesome. Also, I have a Patreon group, a membership group that I speak more to spiritual things, although I may speak about political things in the future. There's videos on there, there's classes, all kinds of stuff. So if you're interested in something like that, check it out. The description will be in the description of this video. Again, thank you so much for watching. If you have questions, please post them. I'm pretty good about answering questions. If you have any comments, I would love to hear those as well. Overall, guys, it's going to be a bit of a rocky summer, but we're going to get through this. We are going to move forward into the light, into the new ascension. It's just going to take a little while, and we might have some setbacks, but overall, we're moving in the right direction. You guys take good care. For entertainment purposes only.